Hello, everybody. We're going to get back to class and get moving again. Um, we are continuing the book of what? The book of what? Starts with a G and ends with Enesis.
Innocent.
And, and you guys know what chapter we're in? We're in chapter 1 plus 1 plus 1. Chapter
Three.
three. All right. So let's get going. So in the last story that we read, it's a history, but it's really written in a story format, right? Talked about the gold and the garden and the great things that God made. And he put man into that garden, into Eden, the paradise. One of the rules he gave him was to take care of the garden and keep it. Another rule was about what they could eat and in particular what they could not eat. Uh, and then there was even the instruction that Adam was given to call and name all of the animals. Uh, God has given man lots of different rules. Even here at the end, therefore shall a man leave his father and mother and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. That's even part of the law and part of the rules that God gave to Adam and Eve. Sometimes I think people like to really focus on the law, thou shalt not eat of this tree, because of what's going to happen in the story next. But God had already given man a lot of different rules and laws. There were there were different things that Adam were told to do, and he was doing all of them. But in this story, we see where that changes. We see where that changes. So, Genesis chapter 3. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, has God said, Ye shall not eat of any tree in the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, Of the fruit of the trees of the garden we may eat, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die. For God does know that in the day that you eat of it, then your eyes will be opened, and you shall be as God, knowing good and evil. All right, let's go ahead and draw the serpent. And I'm going to draw a forked tongue. There's a forked tongue. Now, we know later in the story, he has to crawl on his belly. So it almost makes it sound like he has feet now. So I'm just going to give this snake feet. Of course, I'm going to make it look silly because I don't know what a snake with feet looks like. There's my snake with feet.
It looks kind of like a weird duck.
Yeah, you're right. I like weird ducks. I'm going to give him a red tongue because he's a sneaky guy. I'm going to give him yellow eyes because that sounds scary. All right. So we're going to talk about what the serpent says to the woman. Number one, it's a serpent and he's subtle or he's sneaky and he's a little deceitful. And he comes up and he says to the woman, Has God said, You shall not eat of any tree in the garden? Did God say anything like that? You shall not eat of any tree in the garden.
No. No.
The similarity is there's one tree that you don't eat, right? That's the similarity. Satan takes one little similarity about don't eat one tree, but how does he make it sound? He makes it from don't
Bad.
eat, yeah, don't eat one tree to don't eat any tree. Doesn't that make God sound kind of mean? Don't eat any trees. Do you see how Satan is taking a rule from God and making it and changing that rule to make God sound bad? Is God bad?
No.
No. God gives good rules, but Satan can make God's rules sound bad. If Satan makes God's rules sound bad, does that mean that the rule is bad?
No?
No, it doesn't mean the rule's bad, but he's kind of changing our brains. He's a very subtle, sneaky guy. It's very ugly. Are you not supposed to eat any tree? Well, the woman corrects him, but look at what she says. The woman said of the serpent, of the fruits of the trees of the garden we may eat. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
of the
wait,
fruit of
hold
the,
on.
but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden.
Except one. Except one.
But hold on. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, you shall not eat of it. Is that true? Yes.
No?
Yes, the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, you shall not eat of it. But look at what she says then. Neither shall you touch it, lest you die. Did God give the rule you can't even touch the tree?
Oh.
I don't read that in chapter 2. I don't read that rule. Now, imagine, just pretend you're a kid. Is that hard to do? To pretend that you're a little kid? All right, pretend you're a kid and your mommy and daddy knows there's a tree in your yard that if you eat the fruit of that tree, you're dead. Okay, your mommy and daddy will give you the rule, don't eat that fruit, right? Could you imagine your mommy and daddy, especially if you were like a little kid, like 2, can you imagine your parents saying, don't even touch the tree, don't even get close to the tree? Can you imagine?
Yes.
Is
Yes,
that
I can.
is that a bad rule?
No.
No.
It helps you follow the big rule.
It helps you follow the big rule, right? And sometimes when you're just a little 2-year-old kid, you kind of need a little bit of extra help. So when you become an adult or maybe a teenager or even a 9-ager, you might find out you're allowed to touch the tree because it won't hurt you, but you don't eat the fruit, right? That kind of makes sense. I wonder if Adam and Eve gave each other a rule. Look, we're not supposed to eat it. We're not even going to touch it. Is that a bad rule? I don't think it's a bad rule. It's a helpful rule. But look at the way she says it. God has said, you shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. Did God say that part of the rule? No.
No.
Was she right to say that God said it?
No.
No. No. She's already making a couple mistakes, isn't she? Satan's getting in and kind of changing her brain. Let's see. I see a hand up at the Dobbses.
I'm sorry, I'm just a little confused. What makes you think that God did not say you shall not touch it?
It doesn't show up in chapter 2. Now, there's a chance that God could have made that rule, but we don't have God saying it, if I remember right. But he does say that you shall not eat it. I don't know if it's completely sure, but I do know that God didn't say it in chapter 2. And so that's just an idea I think is interesting to think about. It seems to me that she's already getting a little bit mixed up. So now we continue on, and the serpent said unto the woman, you shall not surely die. Is that true? No.
No.
Physically died, but
It's a lie. If God says you're going to die and he says no, that's a lie. For God does know that in the day that you eat of it, your eyes will be opened and you shall be as God, knowing good and evil. Well, that might be true, right? If it's the knowledge of good and evil, but he begins it with a lie and makes it sound like God knows something secret and he doesn't want you to know it. The serpent is trying to get Eve to see, I think God's being mean to you. I think God is not giving you cool stuff. That's kind of a wicked way to be. All right, well, let's see how it goes. So that's the serpent talking to Eve, okay? Now, what does she do? When the woman saw that the tree was, I'm going to
Good
underline,
for food.
good for food, that it was a delight to the eyes, and that the tree was desired to make one wise, she took the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband, and he did eat. All right. And the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. They heard the voice of the Lord walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord amongst the trees of the garden. All right, let's draw what happens. All right, let me get this and erase the backboard. All right, so first we're going to draw the tree and the fruit. I have to draw the branches and the trunk. We'll draw the leaves around it. All right, so there's a big tree. And what fruits are we going to draw on it? What fruit did it say was growing in the tree? Did the text say?
No?
No, it didn't.
Doesn't say.
It doesn't say. So we can make up our own fruit, or we can draw fruits that we already know. Do you want to make up our own fruit? Let's do that.
Make up our own fruit.
Let's make up
Banana.
our own fruit. It's going to be, I'm
Banana.
going to draw a purple shape like this. It's got 3 bumps. Yeah, it's like a purple 3-bump fruit. I don't know. It's kind of like cotton candy lump fruit. It's purple color. Although it's supposed to be desirable to the eyes, and the fruit I'm making, that's not very desirable looking, but oh well. All right, so then we're going to have, what are the 3 things that she liked about it? The text says she noticed 3 things about the fruit. What did she notice about it? That it was what and what and what?
Good for food, a delight to the eyes, and desirable to make one wise.
Food, wise, wise. I'm just going to summarize it that way. Here's something that's really interesting. Do we need food?
Yes.
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 We need it. Is food good?
Yeah.
Yes. What about things that are pretty to your eyes? Do you need to have something that's pretty for your eyes to see?
No.
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 But is it good to have something that's pretty for your eyes?
Yeah.
Are things pretty? Are they good? Yeah. What about being wise? What does the Bible say about being wise? That it's really bad to be wise?
It's good.
No, it's good. It's good.
Because when Solomon asked to be wise, God said it was good.
Yes, that's a great example. So, is food good? Yes. Is pretty things good? Yes. Is wisdom good? Yes. So why should we not eat this tree if it's got good food and if it looks pretty and if it makes me wise? Why shouldn't I eat it if it's all those good?
Because you're going to know about evil.
Yeah, that's one reason.
Because God said.
Because God said. If God said no, it doesn't matter if I come up with a million reasons why it's a good idea. If God says it's wrong, that's the only thing we have to know. That's the only thing we have to know. And so it didn't matter about these things that seemed good, but these are the ways that she was tempted. All right, tempt. The bottom. For tempting. She was just tempted. Was she tempted by evil? Well, the serpent was evil, but she was tempted to have good things. That's kind of the way Satan works with us. All right. So, what happened? She saw those things, so what did she decide to do?
Eat the fruit.
She ate the fruit. After she ate the fruit, what did she do then?
Give it to Adam.
He gave it to Adam. And did he eat it? He ate it. Did he have to eat it just because she did?
No.
No, but he did it anyways. All right, I see a hand up at the McBrooms. What's up? Oh, you're muted.
I put 1 million, and then I put the greater than symbol, and then I put 1 beside the greater than.
I like that. That's a really good symbol for that. That's really, really good. Okay, so now I'm going to draw Adam and Eve. I'm going to draw Eve first. She's got her hand on the fruit. And we've got Adam here. All right. So here they are. They ate the fruit. And what do they realize after they eat the fruit?
They're naked.
They're naked. The big point there is they feel ashamed. If you were outside and didn't have any of your clothes on, you'd be like, oh, I feel uncomfortable. I feel naked. I feel exposed. So how did they try to fix their discomfort? How did they try to fix themselves?
They
What they
sewed,
do?
leaves on to
They
themselves.
put leaves on. Can you wear leaves?
Yeah. No.
How you can wear leaves very well, but I guess we'll put some leaves on them. So here's some green. We'll put some leaves. It says they made aprons, which makes me think that it wasn't very large, right? Maybe he just had enough leaves around his waist. Have you ever seen anybody just walking around in only an apron? Ugh, you need more than just an apron on. All right, well, let's see what happens in the story. Okay. Oh, and then God showed up. What happened when God started walking in the garden?
They hid.
They hid. Maybe I'll draw leaves above them too. Why did they hide from God? If you hide from God, it's probably not that you're playing a game of hide and seek. You're playing I'm afraid of God. That's kind of scary. All right. And the Lord called unto the man and said unto him, where are you? And he said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. Okay, first I'm going to say, when God says, where are you? Where art thou? Does God not know?
God knows. He
Yes.
wants you to be the one to show where you are.
God knows everything.
Give them a chance.
Yeah. He's asking Adam to come out. That's what I think that means. God knows everything. Oh, I see a hand up at the Dobbs. Yeah?
I was just thinking that it seems that Adam and Eve were hiding even before God came into the garden, and it seems that they were hiding from each other,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that sin was driving them apart.
Yeah, that can be in there. That's that. There's when they realized their shame and their guilt, they just started hiding everything. I think there's something to be said for that. All right, well, I'm going to keep reading in chapter 3. Good comment, Amos. And he said, who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree whereof I commanded you should not eat? Okay, I'm going to ask it again, but it's kind of the same question. Did God not know what they did?
No.
He knew he was just giving them a chance.
Yeah. Yeah. Has your mom and dad ever said that to you before? Did you do this? And they knew you did it.
Or a school book, like they already know what happened, but they just want you to tell
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. If you stole all the food out of the refrigerator and hid it under your blanket, and your mom and dad were really mad about it, where's all our food? What's the best thing to do? Admit it was you, or wait and not say
Admit
it?
it was you. It was admitted it was you.
You need to admit it. Is it easy to admit it when you did something wrong?
No.
Does it feel good?
No. Or you could just wait until they were gone in another part of the house and quickly put all the food back in the refrigerator.
Well, but then they're still going to wonder who the thiefy, stoley person was. Yeah. Do you think Adam and Eve were excited to talk to God about this?
No.
No. Let's see how well they do. Have you eaten of the tree whereof I commanded you should not eat? And the man said, the woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree and I did eat. Have you ever blamed your brother or sister? They made me do it.
You did it.
Is that a right way of talking?
No.
So, and the Lord said, God said to the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me and I did eat. He tricked me and made me do it. Do you see how they're just scared and it's not very truthful. They're trying to make it about somebody else did the thing and not themselves. And the Lord said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, cursed art thou above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, the dust that shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, between her seed and between your seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. All right, this is the great curse against the serpent. And what's the first part of the serpent's curse? What does he have to do now?
He has to lower his belly.
He's going to walk around on his belly. Are we going to draw the snake with feet on this picture?
No.
There's no more feet on the snake. I'll give him sad eyes. But I'll give him that red tongue. What else does he say in the curse? I'm going to put enmity. I'm going to put ugliness between you, snake, and whom else?
Woman.
The seed of the woman.
Yeah, the woman's children and the snake's children. What's the snake going to do to the woman's children? The snake is going to bruise her heel. And what is the woman's children going to do to him?
Bruise his head.
What hurts more? Getting stomped on the head or getting bit in the foot?
Getting stomped on the head.
Yeah. I mean, they're both going to hurt. So the snake is going to bite woman on the heel and bite all the women's children on the heel. But what is eventually going to happen to the snake?
He's going to get his head stomped on.
Yep. What do people think that this is a prophecy about? About Jesus. Satan gets all of us to sin. Satan convinces us to break the rules, and he bites us. Those are like the bite marks of a snake. I'm going to draw that. But what is eventually going to happen against the serpent? Eventually, the serpent is destroyed. In the book of Revelation, there is a serpent. There's a great dragon. It's Satan. And what eventually happens to the great dragon in the book of Revelation? It's destroyed. Even today, I know I've sinned and Satan bit me on the heel, but I'm still waiting for Jesus to destroy Satan in the end. All right, let's see what he says unto the woman. Unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow in conception, and in sorrow shalt thou bring forth children. And thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. There's two parts of what she has to deal with. Sorrow and pain in bringing forth children. Do mamas have a hard time having babies? Yeah, it hurts them. Have all women had that pain since then when they're having children? Yeah, it's a sad thing. It's really hard. And what else is?
Mr. Dan,
Yes.
I think when it says the snake shall crawl and eat, I think it's saying it shall eat sand and put its face in the sand and just slide around.
I think that's perfect. I think that's exactly right. In fact, I didn't do anything about that. I'm going to draw dust. He's going to be all dusty. That's a really important part. Thanks. The other part of this result is that your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over thee. Does every lady like that the husband is the head of the family and has the rule? I don't think so. But it's one of the consequences of this story. Kind of interesting. All right, now let's read what he says unto Adam, unto the man. Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In toil shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee. And thou shalt eat the herb of the field, and in the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground. For out of it wast thou taken. For dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. So there's an interesting part here. He says, you hearkened unto the voice of your wife. You listened to your wife. He listened to Eve. Who did Adam not listen to? God. Should we listen to our moms? Should a husband listen to their wife? Should we listen to people?
Yeah.
Should we listen to people when they tell us to do things God said no?
No.
We always listen to God the most. I think that that's a problem there. All right, I see a Bingham hand up. Yes?
Well, say if if they had obeyed God, if moms had babies, would it not hurt or something?
That's what it sounds like to me.
Or snakes would not go on their bellies?
That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah.
Although at some point, man probably is going to sin because they're not perfect.
Yeah. But here's a part that answers that, right? Because now one of Adam's curses is the ground is cursed, and he's going to eat in toil shalt thou eat of it. Right? He's going to have not just to work, he's going to have to work hard because there's thorns and thistles. Now, here's something. Was Adam told to work in the garden already?
Yep.
Yes. Did Adam have to deal with thorns and thistles, though?
No.
Not before. So it makes me think he already was supposed to work, but now the work is extra hard. That makes me think maybe the woman was already going to have babies, but now it's going to be extra hard. It was going to be without the pain, and now it is with the pain. That's what I think. It doesn't say that exactly, but that's what I think is going on. And so he's going to be sweating and working. Here's another part. You're going to return unto the ground, for out of it was thou taken. For dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. This is talking about death. When you die, you're going to turn back into dirt. God made man out of dirt, and man's going to turn back into dirt. So they died two ways. They began to die physically. Their bodies were going to get old and they were going to die and turn back into dirt. But I also think they died spiritually. They were with God. They were happy to be with God. And how were they now when God showed up?
The man turned back into what he was made out of.
Yes. He's going to turn back into what he was made out of. And now, rather than being happy, I think they're afraid. I think they're afraid to be near God. And so this is really kind of sad. They were happy to be with God, and now they're afraid to be with God. I'm going to put his hands like over his head, like I'm hiding myself because I'm afraid to be near God. I think that's kind of a death. That's a death. What if you were afraid to be with your family? I mean, that doesn't mean you're dead, but that'd be a very important part of your life had died. All right, so let's see the rest of the chapter. Try to do this quick. And man called his wife's name Eve because she was the mother of all living. And the Lord God made for Adam and for his wife coats of skins and clothed them.
Stop.
What does it mean he made coats of skins? What's a coat of skin?
A robe, maybe, like actual covering you all up.
Good, that's one part. A coat like a robe.
Made with animal fur, not just leaves.
Yeah, made with animal fur, not just leaves. So first they're just wearing aprons, which is kind of like small, right? Now they're wearing a cloak or a coat. So it's like bigger, right? And I'm going to put like leopard spots on it.
I must have had to kill an animal to get it.
Had anything died yet? Not in the story. But now that they've died with God, now an animal is dying. What did Adam do with all the animals in the previous chapter? Can you remember?
Name them.
He named them. What if he recognized the skin from an animal that he named? How would that make you feel? Makes me feel sad. Maybe Adam knew what animal this skin came from.
True.
So that's a sacrifice. Did the animal have to die? Yeah. What about their aprons? Was it enough clothing for them? It wasn't enough. Have you noticed that sometimes people wear clothes and they think it's enough, but it's not enough to cover their bodies? Is it okay to walk around in just an apron?
No.
You need the full body clothes. I mean, it's okay if your arm is showing, but we need to cover our bodies. And this is a story where God is saying you need to cover yourself the right way. Okay, I see a hand up at the Dopsis.
I was just thinking this is kind of a shadow of Jesus, man trying to cover up their own sin, but then God provides something to cover them up, but it involves a death.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of New Testament pictures in this story. All right, I'm going to stop there just for the sake of time, because we've been going on for a while. And this can fit with the next story about how they're going to be taken out of the Garden of Eden. And then we'll learn about Cain and Abel. We'll put that together because this is just a big story and it's hard to get it all in one shot. Have you guys heard this story before about Adam and Eve sinning?
Yeah.
2 billion times.
Too many times. Well, I know some adults who think they know the story, and guess what? The adults need to hear it a bunch of times too, not just kids. This is one of the most important Bible stories in the whole Bible. Everything was going great. And now is everything going great?
No.
No. The rest of the Bible is God's story about how to fix this problem. The rest of the Bible.
Sleepy bad algebra one day.
All righty.
That's a
Well, I'm going to
lot.
let you guys go. Had a good study with you. I think this is fun. Let me click a button,
Bye,
do this,
Bun.
and I will talk to you later. See you guys.
Bye.